So they still have time left. What did Courtney say? There's a food drive. They could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours this week alone if they wanted to. So I think we need to hold their feet to the fire as well as administrators and say this is important and it has to happen. And the hours aren't being changed, so I didn't mean that dummying down. I meant dummying down to include the summer when there are plenty of opportunities for the kids to get these hours done.
Mr. Boutar, please use your microphone.
Use your mic.
Please use your mic so everybody can hear you.
I support what Mrs. Arns said, that I don't have the exact words, but in substance, whatever she said, I support that.
Thank you. Mr. Kemp, yeah.
Okay, I get the sense from several of you, you would rather not have the summer kick in. So then we'll pass it as it reads, I hope. Pardon?
It reads they have the opportunity to do it in the summer.
Where?
It doesn't say school year. It's just school year.
Just show that to me. I don't.
We took out the word school year.
I'm sorry, what?
This policy as written took out the wording for the school year. And so it does implicitly include the summer because the word school year were removed. That's what Ms. Fisher is trying to communicate.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor, isn't there?
That is correct. There is a motion to...
Then why didn't somebody make a motion to reinsert the word school year and everybody will be happy as an amendment to the main motion?
Ms. Sarn, you have the floor.
Well, perhaps we should simply defeat the motion, vote on the motion that's on the floor, and then if the motion is defeated, then we can propose another motion. I think there are a couple of things going on in this motion.
I'd like to give Ms. Vernon a chance to come forward and maybe speak if she would like on this.
First, I apologize for my appearance. I came straight from a game. Not sure where you were on the agenda when I came in. I'm a little confused because when we came and presented last board meeting, it seemed that everyone was clear in understanding that we wanted more opportunities for students. So I thought we were good moving forward to the policy committee to reword the policy. I think what we tried to do was provide structure for kids because we wanted to make sure that 10 hours were completed each year. But during the policy meeting, a question came up of, what if a student was gung-ho and wanted to complete 40 hours ahead of time? Would that be okay? And so the people that were there had a discussion and seemed to me agree that it was good for a student who was gung-ho, who wanted to complete that. It would be in their benefit. They could, instead of worrying about it each year, could have it completed. I understand where you're coming from. I would think the majority of students would complete 10 hours per year. I think there are opportunities that exist, but I think when we limit it to the school year, we limit other opportunities for kids that may help them even in their future. It may allow them the opportunity to pursue a career because they found an opportunity that wasn't available to them during the school year. I was only looking for flexibility and structure together, and I felt that that policy, when we created it, allowed that to happen, allowing students not to be promoted until that was completed, which allowed them, if they got it done, say in September of their sophomore year, would then become a 10th grader. That's really what we were trying to do, is provide some flexibility but maintain the structure.
Mr. Percy.
So when we're looking at the community part of this, not the world language or the mathematics, the current policy is still in effect. The only change from the current policy to what we're talking about is giving students the opportunity to take summertime hours and get 40 hours in their first year if they wanted to. So if this motion is defeated, left alone and defeated, the current policy stays intact as the way it is. Thank you.
Ms. Bush.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Do you have
a way for students to report during the summer?
Yes.
And you have some kind of form and you can verify it and all that?
Yes, it would be the same policy that we have in place right now where there's a pre-approval form. There's an administrator on duty all summer. I am also there a certain number of hours during the summer. There are plenty of people who could be a point person who could make that happen over the course of the summer. That was another reason why we thought it would be okay.
Ms. Sarn?
Kim, it didn't happen in the first 7 months of the school year. So you're not convincing me that you need the months in the summer to make it happen. And it really comes down to, you're talking about missed opportunities. Isn't it really an hour a month? You think students can't come up with an hour a month to fulfill the graduation requirement? What opportunity would they miss by giving up an hour a month to the community?
I don't know. I really don't know that there are that number of opportunities in this one community for an hour a month for the number of students, especially as we increase year to year. I think it will become a problem over the course of time as we increase with the number of students that are expected. And again, I also go to not so much in the community that there are many opportunities even outside of the community that still give service that only provide themselves the availability during the summer. I hate to limit the students to just doing something during the school year. If we're talking about service, I think there are some things that are outside of the school year that kids should get involved in and should count for what they're doing. I'm just not sure what the confinement has to be to that. If Mr. Percy was asking about the retainment and how they would go, so I'm not sure how that would even work going this way. You would say that they wouldn't even get it till the next year, so now in their sophomore year they'd have to get 20 in order to move on. Like, we would have to even rework that if we're only limiting it. But you can make up a class, like you said, during the summer and move on. So could you make up summer hours and move on? That's, you know what I mean? So it's kind of along that same line. That's what we were trying to do, is provide some flexibility in that, the wording.
But if we make it clear to the student, they didn't fail a class count. They neglected to do what they needed to do to fulfill a requirement. That, to me, that's very different. So now, instead of saying you have to, we say, well, okay, we'll extend it for you. It's not the same as failing a class and making up credits. They had 10 months to get the time done. I don't see why we need to extend it to the summer. It's not the same as failing. They just didn't do it.
So then what would happen? If they don't do it freshman year, in the way you see it, when would they do it and move on?
I'm saying to you, why wouldn't they do it? You need to prove to me at some point that they didn't do it. Why wouldn't they do it? And I say, I'm not willing to, I call it dummy down, but I'm not willing to, I don't wrap my head around that change until you prove to me that it's such a hardship that students can't get it done. Not choosing not to or thinking they can get away with it, but truly can't get it done.
And I would say that that's just a perception in how we portrayed it. I would say that 2 weeks ago when we came and presented the statistics at this point, that we haven't built that culture yet. It's brand new to this freshman class. We have done things to promote it. We have done certain things. It may not be perfect, but we're not trying to confine them just to September to June. It's not that I'm trying to give them an extension because they didn't get it done. I'm really trying to expand the opportunities that exist out there. I'm not trying to say, you didn't get it done and you have to do it this time. That's not what I'm trying to do. There are some kids that I do need to do that for, but for the whole, I'm trying to expand the opportunities for students that include in the summer. And that is the feedback that I'm getting from parents. I'm not coming here selfishly on my own to say, this is what I want. I've talked to numerous parents at different parent group meetings on the phone, talking about community service hours, saying that they're only allowing us to do it during the school year, and they'd say, I don't understand why they say that. They also are looking for the same flexibility because they know there are opportunities out there that they would like to take the opportunity to do.
Ms. Fisher?
I just wanted to say that there are some students who play 3 sports, have a job. Summertime might be the only time that they really do have the time to do it, in my opinion.
Mrs. Bush, then Mr. Percy.
I would agree with Mrs. Fisher. That's the point that I wanted to make. My children played 3 sports. They were active on the robotics team. They were in the fire department, which gave them their 10 hours as volunteers. But if they didn't have that, they would have a very difficult time with 3 sports, academics, robotics team, to be able to put those hours in if it wasn't for, like I said, the opportunity of things like the Police Explorers or the Volunteer Fire Department. But you can't always have that available. But that's why I think there's more opportunities in the summer if you're extremely active. So I would say I'd like to expand the time a little.
Mr. Percy, were you looking for a follow-up?
Yeah. You almost got me swayed, almost. So the question Vernon is asking is, okay, so they don't complete their, currently they have to complete their 10 hours of freshman year. If they don't complete it, September, for our first day of school next year, they're on the hook for 20 hours. That's currently how the policy reads, correct?
That's correct. That is correct, and they also would be labeled as a grade 9 student.
Until they completed those first 10 hours.
Correct.
So, I think last meeting, as I recall, I asked for a report on this at the end of the school year to see where students were. If this passes, I'd also like a report September 1st to see what the summer hours and see what kids took part.
I would agree.
And that would show me that, okay, well, maybe, I mean, I understand that kids are busy. I was busy. So I just wish we piloted this better or looked into it better than just throwing it at you guys, and I'm sorry for that.
I appreciate that.
Any further dialogue on the question? There is a motion on the floor to approve the revised Board of Ed policy 6146. Going to call that motion to a vote by a show of hands. All in favor? And all opposed? I show 3 opposed. The motion does carry. The motion does carry. It passes. Mr. Keck, you have the floor.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it passed, and the policy committee appreciates the input that we received during committee from staff as well as the other Board of Ed members here tonight. I don't, just to address Kyle's concern, I don't know if we had piloted this, studied it, or whatever it is, another year, if we would have gotten it. I think we have something that's pretty decent here, and yeah, we could have thought through some other aspects of this. I never really thought that the summer hours issue would become really so controversial, if it is at this point.
So we're gonna move along. Thank you, Mr. Kemp.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.